Hello and welcome back to the Business of Happiness podcast. Hi guys, I'm your host, Dr. Tarryn MacCarthy, and today is going to be a great day because just when everything in your lived experience is telling you that what you're hoping for is impossible, the impossible is beyond your comprehension. And there is always hope. I have such an incredible story to share with you today, and it is so reflective of our experience as leaders in dentistry and so reflective of our experience in life. When we are trying so hard towards something, you know that feeling of, damn it, I am doing my best. I keep trying, and what I want to come out of this is not happening. Whether it's your team and you're thinking to yourself, my gosh, I do everything for them. I increase their per hour rates. I have given them time off. I've given them benefits. I make sure they're not overworked. I give them all these concessions when they're asking. And yet I still have team members who quit for no reason at all. Or I still have team members who don't show up to work on time. Or I still have team members who aren't committing and aren't putting in the effort that I'm looking for. Or maybe you feel like I have been trying to grow this practice for so long and it's just not feeling easy. They keep telling me at some point this is going to start to become easy, and it's not easy. I keep working so hard. Whenever you feel like I've been banging my head against a wall and nothing's changing, and I want to invite you to know that there are outcomes that are beyond your scope of comprehension at this time. And today we're going to talk about how to get out of your own way to allow that outcome to come to you. I want to share the story. This past weekend, I had a friend visit me. She's one of my dearest friends. She is a friend from high school, which is extremely unusual for me. She's one of the few high school friends that I still keep in touch with. We were in each other's weddings. She's just a phenomenal person. And she came up with her boyfriend and their sweet little Yorkshire Terrier this weekend to spend the weekend with me. And they arrived late in the evening. And the next morning, I had a client that I needed to see in the morning and spend time with. And so she went for a run. And I said to her, we're in the middle of the woods in Maine here. You cannot see a neighbor near me. There is just dense, thick woods and beautiful wildlife. We get a wildlife show here every single day. I said, that sweet little 7-pound Yorkshire Terrier, just please be careful to keep him on leash and keep him in your eyesight when you're outside, because we have bald eagles and all kinds of hawks that catch rabbits and small animals all day long. And I just want you to know it's not really super safe for him to be outside by himself. And she said, oh, of course. We come from the city. He's never been off leash. He'll always be on leash. Thank you so much for the warning, but I'm not worried because I won't go outside without a leash on. So while I was seeing my client, she went for a run, left the dog here, and unbeknownst to my husband, he accidentally let him out. When Sarah came back from her run, when I finished my client, the dog was gone. This was about 8:30 in the morning. That sparked a 15-hour manhunt, dog hunt, terrier hunt that involved we were combing the woods. We were hiking. We were mountain biking. We were taking the ATV. I was driving the car. We were extending the perimeter further and further and further. I included all my neighbors, and they were on mountain bikes looking for this dog. We were calling him. We were taking food out. Sarah left clothes of hers outside. We just knew that this dog was in a foreign environment. He didn't know where he was. He'd never been in the woods before. He'd never been outside the city. He had no skills for navigating turkeys and hawks and, anything that would come his way. I was imagining maybe he'd broken a leg somewhere in the woods, and it's so tiny. The grass stands twice as high as he does. it was so futile, but we kept going. We kept hiking and trying and looking for him all day long. And the day was torture. I felt so guilty. I felt so much shame and guilt. I was so torn up about this little dog being gone. She barely got here. We hadn't even hung out yet. And now this huge tragedy of this sweet dog that meant so much to her and her family. And I was really angry. I was angry with my husband for letting the dog out. And this entire day was spent just swimming in these negative, terrified emotions and really trying so hard. And no matter what we did, we couldn't find this dog. And, you know, I remember saying to myself during the day, I can't give up. I've got to keep trying. So I'd go on another loop in the woods and I'd comb the same path that I'd combed. And we looked near the house. We extended it almost to 3 miles beyond the house. I thought, how far can an 8-pound, 7-pound Yorkshire Terrier get? And that night we went to bed, just sad, terrified. All night long, I was just having nightmares about what possibly could have happened to this dog. And I got up in the morning and I was still feeling like I didn't sleep well, dreading the day, dreading poor Sarah's, sadness and her having to tell the kids. And I looked out the window and there was the dog on a leash being walked by Sarah's boyfriend. And I couldn't believe it. I couldn't compute. My mind actually thought I was still having a dream. I'd been having these nightmares all night long and I literally thought, okay, this is the next one. And I thought, well, since I'm in the dream, the dog's there completely unscathed. Let me run down and see. So I ran downstairs and I was asking her boyfriend, what happened? He said, Tarryn, in the middle of the night, we just couldn't sleep. And we thought, let's just sit out on the porch because we literally can't sleep. And they opened the door and he flew in. What we think is possible is beyond our human comprehension. The outcome is so far beyond what we can consider. And I'm bringing the story to you today as a reminder that you have no idea of the outcome. None of us ever do. None of us ever do. And in the journey, we try so hard to force a certain outcome. I wanted so badly to be walking down a specific trail and look in the woods and see him and be the hero and bring him up out of the ditch and heal his wounds and be the hero of the story and make Sarah feel better and make my husband feel better. I wanted that so badly and I kept trying to make that come true. Even when we were calling, Sarah said, I just wanted him to hear my voice. I wanted him to hear my voice and then come running out of the woods to me. That is the outcome. She was calling for 15 hours trying to call this dog back. And it wasn't until we all accepted that the situation that he was not here right now and we went to bed that he showed up. And I invite you to just look at what you're going through in your life right now. Where are you? And I love this analogy from this very, ridiculous metaphor that we all use, banging your head against a wall. Where are you doing the same action over and over again? And maybe even harder and harder, thinking, if I bang my head harder, then I'll get through the wall. And what I would love for you to just consider, it's not the wall that's bringing you so much pain and frustration. It's your action of banging against it and refusing to accept that the wall is there. And when we do that, when we refuse to accept that the wall is there and keep banging our heads against it, we're missing the door right next to where we're standing. We're missing the sunshine behind us. We're missing the opportunity all around us because we're so focused on banging against that damn wall. Where in your life are you banging against a wall? Are you trying to force an outcome? Maybe it's in your personal life. Maybe you have a teenager like I do who you are insisting react to you a certain way, respond to you a certain way, love you a certain way. Really over and over and over again, insisting on it, and it just doesn't come true. But you keep trying harder. And in the trying harder, you're feeling worse and worse about yourself. It's exhausting. It's feeling futile. It's feeling like this will never change or shift. And if we just took a moment to step back and stop trying to force an outcome, there's an other outcome that's even greater than you could have considered. Now I want you to just imagine, not really even imagine, remember. Where in your life can you remember, man, I was trying so hard to make something work, and when I just allowed it to be what it was, stopped trying to force a different outcome, a whole new opportunity opened up to me. That happens so many times for me as a leader with team members, where I knew there was something in me that knew this just wasn't going to work. She wasn't showing up on time. She wasn't dedicated. She was slacking off, and I just could see her potential. And I kept trying to think, what is her love language? How can I reach her? How can I motivate her? And I kept trying all these things. And when I finally realized, you know what, I'm not going to force this outcome, and I stopped trying, she gave her notice. It was not the outcome I expected. It was not the outcome I wanted. But boy, did it open an opportunity for someone incredible to come in and serve us on the team. That team member left, and the next person we hired was my best team member I've ever had. She went on to lead the team. I mean, I didn't even realize what I was looking for. And I was so insistent on making this other team member really work, forcing her into a place she didn't want to be. It wasn't until I finally just accepted and let go of trying to force the outcome. And it's so difficult because many times we tell ourselves that's the only acceptable outcome. And yet, once again, I want to let you know that we never need to give up hope, because the outcome could be something you never even imagined. Now look back again at another example in your personal life. Maybe it was someone you were dating. Maybe it was a certain number of pounds you were trying to weigh, and you kept trying so damn hard no matter what you did, it just didn't work out. Or maybe you were trying to get pregnant, and no matter what you did, it wasn't working. And when you finally stopped and thought, you know what? I have to accept this. I have to accept, maybe not that it could never happen, but right now, the way I'm doing it, it's not happening. And there's a certain level of acceptance that I need to hold right now, because I am driving myself mad trying to force this outcome. And the moment you did that, there was new clarity, new learning, new opportunity. What's actually happening there? That's what I really want to know, and what I want to dig into for a moment. What's actually happening is, when we are trying so hard to force an outcome, and the opposite of what we're trying to make happen keeps showing up, our nervous system goes into greater sense of stress. Our cortisol levels and our adrenaline levels keep rising. Even underneath that, we start reinforcing negative beliefs, limiting beliefs that I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, this will never happen for me. All these old beliefs start getting ignited and reinforced. And when we stop forcing an outcome and choose acceptance, two big things happen. We start to regulate our nervous system. We start to see, what do I need? Okay, I've been banging my head against this wall for so long. What do I need? I need to stop. I need to maybe take some Advil because my head hurts. I need to go lie down and take a nap. Or I need to turn my attention over to something else. I need to do something that feels good for myself. Those beautiful insights are only something you can answer, but they only come when we stop efforting, when we stop forcing something, when we can take a pause and say, oh my gosh, I am exhausted from trying to make this happen and it's not working. I need to pause, I need to stop, I need to come back to myself and ask myself, what do I need? And in doing so, we regulate our nervous system. When we regulate our nervous system, new possibilities become available. because you're not so myopic about one specific outcome. You start expanding and allowing for your higher mind to see other options. Wow, I hadn't even considered I could do A, B, and C. It doesn't mean we give up hope. It doesn't mean we don't still desire something good to come from this, but maybe it's an outcome I never even could have imagined. Maybe there's a lesson here or a learning or a new opportunity that's so far beyond my comprehension. And when we do that, we reinforce a positive, empowering belief. I'm worthy of being taken care of. I am worthy of desire and reaching for something that feels good instead of punishing myself all the time. And that magical combination of those two things starts to shift the tide. And it isn't always what you expected. In fact, many times it's even better. And I've talked about this phrase on this podcast before, and I love it. This is better because. And sometimes when you're so deep in it, that doesn't feel good at all. Trust me, on the other day when this dog was missing, could I say to myself, this is better because? No, that was really hard to see. I was in such a state of panic. It literally took us going to bed to sleep, to regulate our nervous systems. And now, gosh, that was one of the greatest lessons of my life. It was so big. It was such a big moment because the other fascinating thing about our human minds is we can only comprehend what we've experienced. And I don't mean just in your experience. I mean what we've read about, what other people have told us, what we've lived through. We can only comprehend that. So we start to replay scenarios from our past. I read somewhere about eagles stealing dogs and finding, their collars in trees. That was the loudest voice in my head. That's all I saw all day. I stopped looking in the grass and I started looking at the trees. Our minds are so limited to the quantum field of potential opportunities out there. And all I want you to hear from this episode is, what if something can come out of this that I can't even wrap my head around right now? And you have evidence for that in your life. How many times did something come out of a really seemingly disastrous situation where the outcome was even better than you could have imagined? With my first ortho practice, the worst case scenario in my mind was that whole thing fell apart. And guess what? It did. The worst case scenario that I could imagine was that I'd go to a bankruptcy attorney. And guess what? I did. And do you know what gifts came out of that for me? I couldn't even have imagined that beyond that would be a flourishing ortho practice with enormous wealth. I thought that was the end of the story. That when I went to a bankruptcy attorney, when I fire saled my practice, when I walked away from my first two practices, that would be the end. Nope. My limited human mind couldn't even conceive of what was possible beyond that, even greater than what I thought. Because at the time, I thought, it's going to just be, if I could just make this tiny little practice survive and earn a certain number of dollars, that would be the best outcome. I had no idea. There was something much bigger waiting for me, but I had to let that one go. It was way too limiting for me. And that's why that phrase, if not this, then something even better. If I couldn't find that dog in the grass, man, something even better happened. That was beyond my comprehension. And that is what we are here to learn as human beings having a human experience, is learn that there is so much that is out of our control. Everything is out of our control. We think we can control so much. And it isn't until we gain greater perspective that we realize, wow, there is so much I have to learn, even at 48 years old. Even after having had 3 ortho practices, there is so much I can still learn. And maybe you turned on this episode today and you're listening and you needed this message. and you needed this permission to stop banging your head against the wall, whatever it is that you're trying to force an outcome, and man, is it frustrating, and my heart goes out to you because I've been there. Whatever you're trying to force an outcome, what if you just accepted it for what it is, and at the same time held onto this beautiful hope that there is something even better beyond? I can't even fathom it right now. I can't even imagine it in this limited mind that I have. But if I give myself permission to just let go of forcing the outcome, to take care of myself, to still honor the dream, something even better will arrive. I know that this episode might feel uncomfortable. I get it. And allow for it maybe just to open a window of possibility, a window of new perspective for you. Because maybe you're in the thick of it right now and all you can feel is the pain. I get it. And especially if you are a woman dentist business owner, I want you to hear this. This is what I teach in the Empowered Owner live event that's happening this November. So if you're listening to this and you're thinking, Tarryn, this is impossible. I have no idea what you're talking about. This is so esoteric and has no grounding in running a business. I'm going to show you how. So I'll leave this link in the show notes. It's called the Empowered Owner Live Event. You can also find out more about it on my website, The Biz of Happiness, BIZ of happiness.com, and just go under events and you'll find out more about the Empowered Owner Retreat. It is going to shift the way you lead. It's going to shift the way you run your practice away from this force and exhaustion and frustration and disappointment, constant disappointment, to feeling empowered, feeling excited to go to work, feeling proud of what you've created, feeling hopeful. And beyond that little shift is so much abundance. I mean, real dollars and cents. I mean, real team members who have your back. I mean, real joy to go to work, real shifts in how your patients receive your care, shifts in how they heal. It's powerful and it's possible. So check out the Empowered Owner Retreat. And for those of you who are just so grateful for this message today, I am so honored to be sharing it with you, because maybe it's just inspired you to just change your habit pattern of constant force and allow yourself to step back for a moment. Take care of yourself, because when you feel good is when you can do good. You've got this. Bye-bye. Thank you for listening to the Business of Happiness podcast. If this episode brought you new perspective and value, I invite you to subscribe so that you catch all upcoming episodes, and leave us a review. And if you know of a friend or colleague who could benefit from this perspective, share this episode with them and empower their day. For more information about the Business of Happiness and the Radical Happiness for Practitioners course, find me on www.thebizofhappiness.com. See you there.